Greetings, everyone. I'm excited to welcome Pete Foley, CEO and co-founder at ModelOp. Pete, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Ben. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, great to have you here. And let's dive right in. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I've been a long time kind of a serial entrepreneur. This is my fourth company, all been focused in the business software. So been very much focused around enterprise software. Going back in the network side, I've done companies in security, and this is kind of my latest effort with my team, and we're very much focused in the world of artificial intelligence, which is as you know one of the most exciting markets that's come along.
Yeah, hot topic right now. And I was looking through your LinkedIn profile. I could see, yeah, CEO, founder, CEO. So look, I was guessing serial entrepreneur. And so when coming out of, say, like, is your background on the commercial side or is it on the engineering tech side?
Yeah, great question. I generally partner with a good technology team or have had a great technology partner. So I am absolutely more on the commercial side, kind of operations, sales, go to market. I get really excited around how do we take what is a fairly innovative idea and bring it to market, bring it to the customers. And love the early stage stuff. Obviously, you can see, from my background on LinkedIn, and I always kind of joke it's been so hard for me to keep a job. So I get excited about new markets and some of the new emerging technologies and how they apply to those markets.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, obviously, so you said your fourth company, so obviously you like this. So the other companies, was it grow and exit, grow and didn't work out? What's some of the history there?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate. I do love the early stage of market development. I love the early stage of kind of trying to figure out how do you take a product, take it from that innovation phase of an idea and really kind of position it within an emerging market. So, all my previous companies have all been kind of in early, but fairly rapidly growing markets, right? If you look at it, a company called Infoblox was one of the first, I did with a gentleman by the name of Stu Bailey, who was the technical co-founder there, very much focused around that kind of the growth in internet, right? The number of devices that were being added to a network and internet addressing that was required or going to be required. That company, when I had an IPO in 2012, I had been long gone. We kind of grew out of the early stage, turned it over to some other managers, and moved on and did a security company, which we ended up selling. Kind of in that again in a very emerging space that was kind of capitalizing on some of the new state privacy. We built a product that was a piece of technology that came out of Israel, which was really kind of fun too. Just not only working with brilliant Israeli engineers, a chance to spend some time there too. But again, it was a kind of emerging market, innovative product with a great successful exit there with an acquisition. And I think what's cool about this company is that nobody knows where how large the AI market truly could be, right? You try to put an estimate around it within 3 months, right? That estimate gets blown up. So probably by far one of the most exciting markets that I've ever attached with.
Yeah, we appreciate that history. Maybe if more time, we'll circle back on that. But the great transition to my next question. So yeah, tell us about ModelOp. What products and services do you offer?
Yeah, so we offer an enterprise software platform for the enterprise that's very much focused around AI governance. So really the ability to kind of take what we define as models, which are your analytics, they are your AI, your ML assets, and really helping our customers be able to orchestrate the operations of those models, get those models into business in a safe way. Meaning, and that safe way is all about making sure that they're adhering to internal or external um, governance requirements. Right, those can be at a state level or a national level or certainly on a global level, but also making sure that those models are performing within the efficacy expectations. Are they doing what they're supposed to? We're kind of answering that question that says, look, as AI emerges, how do you make sure that it emerges with the right guardrails?
So not only, I want to make sure I understand not only the guardrails and kind of compliance and what it's actually doing, but you said are you helping implement AI or LLM into enterprises then?
We don't do it in a professional services manner,
Mhm.
certainly, or the product itself. Product is really just kind of, almost think of it as an infrastructure requirement to safely implement AI. And those that, the safety measures are wrapped around kind of two areas, as I mentioned, kind of
Mhm.
the external regulatory requirements, as well as the, internal efficacy requirements of those models, right? I mean, every organization is got so much pent up demand, particularly now with some of the large language models or generative AI capabilities. I mean, every business unit, every department within an organization is looking at, how do we take advantage of this, unique opportunity, right, to competitively kind of step ahead. And at some point, somebody puts a brakes on it and says, "That's fantastic. How do we really kind of govern this as well?"
And then, so it sounds like, is this enterprises implementing AI or LLM internally for, say, process optimization, but also maybe AI embedded in a customer facing product?
Absolutely. But more importantly, not necessarily as they embed the AI in the customer facing product, but it's more about the applications that are coming into our customers that have embedded AI, right?
Mhm.
The responsibility for not only the internally developed models or the models that are purchased on an open market or provided within some of the applications, particularly into cloud vendors, right? But also there's embedded AI in, ticketing software, ticketing products like a ServiceNow or something, right? So they're still under the same type of regulatory requirements to make sure that there's no bias in any of those AI models.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're saying, so if say I'm a customer of yours and I'm bringing in or I'm using some sort of tool or SaaS application that has AI in it, understanding the breadth of that AI and maybe what it interacts with and the data and when what's in could be impacted internally by its use.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the requirements or the guardrails that we talked about earlier really are fairly large, just because the amount of AI that's still in planning. I'll
Mhm.
say 'cause it still is quite early in the market.
Yeah, a lot of backlog for yeah, trying to implement AI. I mean, that's what CFOs talk about all the time is like, well, when, how are we going to implement it into the back office finance and accounting function? So still kind of on the early side there. But what kind of verticals? I assume like financial services, this would be big, maybe healthcare. Are you going after specific verticals for your product?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, the obvious ones are heavily regulated, right? And you mentioned two of them: life sciences, obviously, pharma
Mhm.
as well. Um, and they've got both because they're impacted. Again, as I mentioned earlier, state laws. If there's federal laws, and certainly some of the things that are coming over from the EU. Um, but we also see it we have a lot of interest in manufacturing, a lot of interest in CPG. I don't think there's a vertical that's not evaluating at some level AI.
Mhm.
So we really talk about not necessarily what verticals we focus in, but really the opportunity for us is wrapped around large global 2000 organizations, and those large global 2000 organizations that have either a kind of a volume or value to their AI assets, meaning there's a tremendous value, and that can be something as simple as a CPG company that's looking at advertising optimization. By implementing AI, there's potential to save tens of millions of dollars in advertising spend, right? But again, that as I mentioned earlier, that regulatory or that compliance is an internally developed compliance around efficacy, right? If we're making advertising decisions, we want to make sure that we're doing it correct, right? To really take advantage of that. So I really don't think there's a vertical box that that we're certainly put into, but you're absolutely right. The heavily regulated industries are kind of definitely first level adopters. And the other part of that is that the heavily regulated industries, the two that you mentioned earlier, healthcare and financial services, absolutely are further along in the curve in trying to find the use cases specifically for generative.
And I was guessing, probably larger enterprises for your application, and so global 2000 orgs. And then what kind of persona are you going after within these orgs? I mean, and is that shifting? Was it the CTO? Maybe it's the CTO or someone else or someone in compliance. Like who are you trying to find within these large organizations?
So again, yeah, I mean, so there's a kind of a new persona that's emerged within a large organization, and it's got a title similar to a chief AI officer, right? I mean, if you kind of just roll all up to one, who's responsible for our AI strategy? Again, there's a number of different personas who have kind of their fingers in there, right, and have a stake in there. You mentioned the CTO, the CIO, the CFO, right, the chief risk officer, and then obviously the chief data officer, right? So all of those personas, but because it's such an executive level value proposition, being the CEOs of the organizations, the boards of these large global 2000 organizations are say, they're stepping in operationally and saying, how are we taking advantage of of AI, right? Particularly that, at the senior executive level, all of those personas are now kind of stepping back and also saying, and how are we doing this safely, right?
Mhm.
How do we have guardrails? So that because it's a technology platform solution, we absolutely believe the CIO, CTO, the typical technology platform will be implementers will be required to support this. But right now, the business users, the people that see the immediate value, as I mentioned earlier, are kind of in that CDAO, which is a chief data analytics officer, CDO, or AI strategist.
Yeah, so definitely it's the attention of that C level, it sounds like. So let's talk a few facts and figures. What year did you found ModelOp?
So ModelOp is a software company that's been around for 4 years.
Mhm.
2020, we really launched our first version one during the pandemic, right? Took a Series A funding in March of 2020. For great timing for us, but it really forced us to kind of think about really strategically where were we going to put our investments. Uh,
Okay.
so
Yeah, interesting. So that was really like kind of before the open AI hype and all that stuff that you guys were had started this.
And absolutely, it's been a huge advantage for us in this market because we're kind of focused around just kind of, but not only not necessarily the regulatory side of it or the governance side, but more about how do you get just general analytics in operations, much more expeditiously, right? So it's more of an ROI statement at that time. So we were very fortunate to win some early customers. Fidelity is a public use case customer of ours, or one of our very early development partners. RBC Capital is another one. So, the fact that we were able to kind of build out a technology with tremendous, strategic partners like that gave us a huge advantage when OpenAI and generative AI, kind of started to really create this enormous amount of vibe, right? Everybody wants to
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just stepping back, I think there is an assumption, right? When you and I walk down the street and talk to people that AI is everywhere, right? But the reality is it's actually still quite early in the deployment of those technologies and actually moving those technologies into production. So again, because we started, kind of in the hard part of really working on a platform that allowed for this operationalization of all analytics. We support every type of model type. And then it allowed us then to have this platform that was, once and as these generative AI or LLMs start to be introduced in these enterprises, it incorporates right into our platform. So
And then starting your company during the pandemic, so 2020, and then, I don't know when OpenAI kind of created all the AI hype, but did that OpenAI kind of event, did that was there what did you see as an impact on your business, if any?
I mean, tremendous amount of attention, right? So everything from investors to media to LinkedIn to job applicants. There's been a tremendous, I'll call it PR tailwind for not only us but anybody else kind of who's in the kind of AI implementation or a kind of infrastructure area. Well, like I said earlier, it's still early. It's a huge differentiator for us, and certainly there's a market tailwind for companies like ourselves as well. And I'm stealing this from one of the venture capitalist partners that I talked to, but the open AI, the whole idea that these large language models really are gold for organizations. They're going to be I think there'll be some transitions in market leadership, right? Depending on adoption within those
Mhm.
organizations. And we're kind of the picks and shovels, right? We're the requirement. We're required to get that gold out there. So,
Yeah.
So that tailwind certainly has been behind OpenAI, behind NVIDIA, right? That's certainly the last year and a half. But I really like our position now as people, and as our customers and our prospects and the enterprises start to try and turn that gold into some reality. Products like ours are absolutely required.
Yeah, appreciate that insight. So, and then what's your current team size?
We're just under 50 people, very much focused in engineering. Again, we built a platform, right? We've got four of the top 10 banks. We've got the largest regulatory industry group, financial industry group, financial regulatory group in the country, and one of the largest hospital providers in the country. So we've been forced to build out an extremely enterprise ready platform. So hence we have a very small sales team and a very small marketing budget right now. Still, we raised the Series B to obviously increase that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the Series B in a second. And then anything you want to share around ARR or ARR ranges?
No, I can tell you that,
Mhm.
we're growing quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, growing quickly. And then, just around that persona and going after the C level, the global 2000, always curious about that go to market motion. What do you have in place there? SLG, or how are you finding those prospects?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is unique, right? I've done a number of startups and I've been involved in a number of startups. And the first thing you tell them is don't go after the Fortune 500, make that your second wave, right? Or third wave. And again, as I mentioned earlier, that's where the gold is, right? That's where our opportunities are. So we have been forced not only go after the Fortune 500 as a early stage company, but we also have to force to go after, very high level executives. So, our personas are the C-level personas. 'Cause those are folks that really are trying to, really impact change, right? Digital transformation happens at that high level. And to enable the digital transformation, you need products or services like ourselves. So yeah, I mean, that's the go-to-market has been, very much a targeted at a very high level with myself and primarily the executive team. We've got some great sales resources, but I kind of call it the early stages of guerrilla warfare where we're, hand to hand, really trying to understand, who is responsible for this digital transformation or implementation of some of the new assets in the AI world.
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm guessing, yeah, you just can't hire a junior rep and say, hey, call this CFO at a Fortune 500 company and talk shop. So I was guessing kind of mix of a bit sounds like founder led sales plus your exec team getting in on the action.
Absolutely still in the founder led sales. We do have, we have large transactions, right? Because we are selling platforms. We sell our pricing model as a quantitative based pricing model, meaning for each model that our customer consumes, it's a utility based in that sense, right? Annualized revenue in that sense too. But you're absolutely right. It's not, hey, we're faster or cheaper, and let's benchmark us against something because it's an emerging market. I mean, competitively today, our competition is do it yourself, and I know people say that, but this is truly such an emerging, fast moving market that organizations have been forced to build something internally to be able to support, compliance and governance for any of their existing models, let alone the new models that are coming down with generative AI.
And then earlier you mentioned Series A and then just raised a Series B. So how much capital have you raised to date?
We raised $20 million to date.
Okay.
And like I said, we just did a $10 million Series B. As you know, we just closed that last month.
Yeah. 10 million Series B. And tell us, really curious, so from the Series A to the Series B, what did you see in your business? Any triggers or milestones that said you're ready for that next capital raise?
Yeah, there was a couple well, I mean, the obviously external market maturation, right, of generative AI, right, and recognizing that we truly had a competitive edge in being able to help organizations be able to get those models implemented faster. And in the end, that's such a competitive edge these for our enterprises and our customers. The second thing though was just from our numbers, right? So the performance of the company, we did a couple of really strong multi-year 2 and 3 year contracts with some Fortune 500 organizations. So they not only weren't thinking about, hey, I want to solve this problem now, but really were thinking proactively about how they were looking at expanding their usage of AI ML in their requirements, the next 2 to 3 years. So it became, I could see that there was a much more programmatic approach to the particularly in the generative AI, and thinking about, okay, over the next 2 to 3 years, how we're going to consume AI. And that gave me an idea that, look, or gave our company the confidence to go out and raise money and say, look, we absolutely need to invest in our data. We've got enterprise ready products. We've got, customers that have helped us build out a tremendous, PRD, right? Requirements documentation. So we kind of know what we want to build out in the future over the next 2 years. And we just need more people on the street and more marketing out there helping those.
And yeah, curious with that series being 10 million, we hear like, kind of seed stage, maybe series A, a lot of selling the story, team background experience. But at a series B, is it less, like, hey, we're in AI and everybody loves AI versus like, all right, now you've got to kind of support that story with some numbers, with some traction.
Yeah, I think that it's the Series B. Absolutely, the raise of the Series B was about the types of customers we have, the types of contracts we have, and the strategic value that we provided within our organizations. Our customer references are tremendous, right? The go forward is about kind of weaponizing, if you will, those customer references. I mean, I love the Oracle marketing, right? The top 10 pick a verticals, right? So, and really, I think there's an opportunity for us to replicate that as well. I mentioned earlier, we've got 4 of the top 10 banks and are going after the other 6, right? Right. We've got the largest CPG organization in the country as a customer. We're going after CPG aggressive.
Yeah.
So, I mentioned Fidelity, so you can see their competitors that we think, should be customers as well. So,
Yeah, appreciate that insight. And then obviously with, a long history of creating startups, any fundraising lessons learned, say with the Series A, Series B, or other startups that come to mind like, that you'd like to pass on to the community?
yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is, there's a tendency to kind of follow where the market is, meaning, the hype of a market, we talked about a little bit earlier, right? I think it's always out in front of where the actual market really understand before you start spending money, understand where the market maturity is, and the actuality of that. And that can go both ways. That can be either over investing in your sales and marketing, or in some cases over investing in your product development, right? So having a mature product and where the customer market's not quite ready is as frustrating as having a number of customers where the product's not quite ready. So
Hmm.
trying to understand that timing, and hence the nomenclature that we've adopted, right? Series A, Series B. It used to be pretty straightforward. One was kind of the innovation phase, right? And
Yeah.
then you're kind of, to your point, founder-led sales phase, and then let's go back and kind of pop popcorn, if you will, with
Mhm.
kind of a repeatable sales process. We're not at a repeatable sales process yet because we just raised our Series B. And so watch out for the false positives on it. That something is repeatable.
Yeah, yeah, no, appreciate that insight. And then, and Pete, at this stage of your business, 50 employees, about 20 million raised. Is there a favorite number or metric or metrics that you're focused on to guide the business?
Yeah, great question. Honestly, I believe in a simple ARR for us because, again, as I said, the way we sell on a quantitative basis, we have really strong contract values with all of our initial transactions, meaning there's growth within an expansion in addition to, winning new logos. So for us, it's the overall ARR growth is so important for us because it's representative of both of those opportunities. And, as we continue to expand right now, we also continue to kind of, widen our trench, if you will, right, for competitors coming in. So that's the number one thing that we focus on. I mean, we have other metrics, of
Yeah.
course. As a founder, we're always watching cash, right? At the same time, I think that, everybody says, what's the strategy? I'm just going to grow ARR, we'll be okay.
It's a popular answer, ARR, right? Everybody loves ARR. And I'm
Yeah.
guessing with your type of product and large companies, I'm guessing your gross revenue retention will be really nice too. So, yeah. And yeah, Pete, as we wrap up here, really appreciate the time and the insight. What's coming up next for ModelOp?
Yeah, big thing for us, as I mentioned, is you'll see more of us. Obviously, this interview is an example of more PR from us, more marketing from us, more trying to really take advantage of the tailwind that's behind us. We're gonna do some key hires in the sales organization, and really just continue to, as I said, build product that our customers want to continue to expand into.
Well, perfect. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting journey coming up. So, Pete, really, again, appreciate your time sharing your journey. If listeners would like to learn more about ModelOp, where should we send them online?
Yeah, so modelop.com is a great thing. And we hold a number of marketing events that are online too. I encourage listeners to go on our website and look at some of the webinars. And we talk about not only the market, but a lot of our customer use cases as well.
All right, perfect. If you'd like to learn more, check out modelop.com. And again, Pete, really appreciate your time today.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Bye now.